Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. Welcome to episode 9 of the Busy Dad podcast. This is the show where I have the privilege of sitting down with fellow burpee practitioners and hearing their stories. Today, for the second week running, we are joined by a Mike, this time a very different Mike. Mike, welcome to the show, my man.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Really happy to have you. So, Mike and I have been working together for 6 months now. Mike was one of the first people to join me in the coaching practice. And during that time, we've seen Mike cross the threshold into fatherhood. So, Mike is now officially a busy dad. And I think that Mike has also crossed the threshold into being in the best shape of his life in the time that we've been working together,
Yeah.
which has been really a real privilege for me to be a part of that whole process. So you're going to hear about that. But Mike, I think before we get to your experience with the Busy Dad program, it'd be great if you could tell people a little bit about yourself, and also if you can tell us the kind of the story of Mike from a training perspective. Give us a sense of your training history up to, but not including the time where you discovered the program.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is a quick me. I'm me. Well, hello. And I'm a New Yorker living out in Los Angeles. So been here since 2021, give or take. And it's been, from a training perspective. I've been kind of all over the map with that. I used to be like, rail thin cross country guy. Like I'm 5'11", and right now with the program I'm 165. But back, before I started the program, I was about 200 pounds. But like, if you could picture my frame, like 130 pounds, that's what I was in high school. Like I was like, I made the joke, if I went running in a hurricane, I would be dead, because I would just be away, so that was where I was at from a training perspective. In high school, always a real runner guy. I had a roommate in college who was a bodybuilder, or he was getting into bodybuilding, and I ignored it for a semester. And then the second semester, I went to the gym with him and kind of learned through that. So, got into weightlifting, and, not kind of neglected my cardio, but, was weightlifting for a number of years. And then, you graduate and get into your, the chaos of your early 20s, and you kind of just, training here and there sporadically, whatever. And then, different programs, started my own thing. I just sort of didn't really have a program I was following. It's just sort of going to the gym, doing whatever I was going to do, mostly messing around, not really pushing myself in retrospect. And then, we get the COVID times, lockdown and everything. And, I'm sitting there at, 31, 30, and I'm like, well, shit, man, I'm not like in great shape. I had, recently like I had to like stop and sit down after trying to bring something up the stairs from the apartment we're living at. I was like, oh my God, this has never had, like, I was doing it like it was not a problem. It's like I could, but I just had a, so at any rate, I ended up working with a trainer in 2020 and early 2021. And his approach, it was very good. It was very macros focused, and just like a at home, like weight training, which was fine. It was really, it got me out of where I was at. I got into really good shape back then, so I was about 200 pounds. I got it down to about 180, ish, and was in good shape. I started running again. I hadn't been running. I had been, in pretty good like spot, and so that felt great. But then, we we were in Nebraska, and we moved to LA. And I just sort of, another chaos of moving, chaos of different stuff. And, I had been kind of went back to just like going to the gym and weight training when I could. And, I lived kind of across the street from a gym before. So we were in one neighborhood in LA, and then we moved to this new neighborhood when my partner was pregnant, and we are like, I need more space. And it was just far enough away from the gym that I wasn't going.
Mm.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, and then I think it was somebody on the Dad It subreddit. There were, because there's a post pretty much every week of like, how the hell do you guys stay fit? And somebody was like, the Busy Dad program. And I
Oh,
was like,
cool.
what the fuck is that? I go on there, and I'm, they're like, oh, it's all on YouTube. But I'm the kind of guy that just buys whatever because he
Mhm.
feels good about buying something. And I was like, oh, it's all free. "Well, I guess I have to do it then." You know,
Yeah.
I can just buy it and feel like I did it. And so that's how I came across a busy dad program. And it was, I was like, oh yeah, this is just burpees. Like I hate burpees, but I know that I'm gonna be very busy with the kid, and I know that being in good shape is going to be very helpful for that. As my brother has two kids, and he's just like very, very, he is a very, very busy guy, and he's got like a whole weight training setup in his garage, but he's like only in there like once a week, or he's in there in the morning, and then he like drops a weight accidentally because he's tired and he wakes somebody up and he has to stop, so he doesn't like, he's not really doing it very often. So like, I gotta do this, I gotta do something. And so I remember my first like busy dad session, I just sort of, we're at this place where we're living now, we have a garage, so went in a garage, put on some tunes, it's like, all right, I'm gonna do burpees, let's go. And it's like I barely got to I mean, I got 100 in my first session, which was like probably pretty good comparatively, but I was like dying. I'm like, holy macaroni, this is it, So and yeah, then I just kind of kept trying to do it very haphazard. I was doing it, and then you offered up coaching slots, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm paying for the gym and I'm never going. So let's,
Mhm.
it's actually works out to be, kind of roughly the same amount to work with you for coaching. So I was like, well, I'll do it. So then we've had a very structured approach, and yeah, man, I'm blown away by the results. Like literally, I am in probably the best shape of my life. Like even when I was doing cross country, like 18, being in shape at 18 is like, in quotes, you're not really in shape. You're just young. Like you can get hit by a car and keep going. But it's I'm my cardiovascular stuff is like I'm in a very good, I can take the stair. Like we live in a bunch of stairs here. Running up and down the stairs, not a problem. Taking care of the kid all day, not a problem. Like bouncing him around, not a problem. And the training is great. It's a great mental release. It's a great way to kind of reset the day. Gonna get to the first half of the day, work out, and then kind of calms the rest of the day for me. And yeah, just in great shape. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, it's been wonderful to watch um, both your weight loss journey, because when you came to me, I think you were kind of walking around in the 190s, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now, as you said, you're kind of walking around at 165. People watching will be able to see that you're super lean.
Mhm.
Um, it's been amazing to watch that journey unfold, but also training wise. Okay, why don't you share with people kind of a sense of your numbers right now, where you are in the program?
Yeah, so I'm very comfortable at 200, 206 counts. Like that's not even like, it's not a challenge. I mean, it is a challenge, but it's not like, I don't come into it being like, I really hope I can hit this number. It's like I know I can hit 200, and I know I can hit 80 seals. Those are sort of the new baseline of
Yes.
where I'm at. So
Yeah.
that's roughly double where I was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
When but when we got started, because I was only like a hair above that
Hmm.
beforehand. So I'm roughly at double there, and we're pushing towards level 3 week by week here.
You certainly are.
And
Yeah.
so it's been good.
It has been. And um, a couple of things that jump out to me about you, Mike. One is that those gains that you've made, um, it seems that, so you became a dad how long ago? When was your son born? 4.5 months ago or so?
5.5 months.
Five and a half months, right? Okay, okay. No, he's 5.5 months away.
At this point, yeah, I mean, he's like a little over 5.5 months. So April 5th. So as of this recording, I'm not sure when we're coming
Okay,
out.
okay. But it feels like we had been working together for at least 6 weeks, I think, before he came along. In any case,
Yes.
what's been so striking to me is that much of this progress that we're describing has happened after your son was born. I think if people listening to this with a child on the way, I think a very common mindset, which I completely understand, is okay, I better train as hard as I can before the baby comes, because you know I'm not going to be able to build any fitness after the baby comes for at least a year or something.
Mhm.
Whereas all this weight loss that you've been doing and all of these fitness gains that you've been doing have all come in the context of fatherhood and and
Yeah.
and and the chaos of having a new baby in your house. Talk to me about what it's been like to combine training with and diet with, fatherhood.
Yeah, I mean, from a training perspective, it's been very it's sort of just it was sort of like initially was I'm just gonna do it because I need to do it and I don't want to, I'm paying for this, so I'm not gonna like I'm gonna use it at first. And then it kind of became this is a really good stress reliever. This is an incredible way to just sort of just if I'm stressed out during, especially those early, that first month, the first 2 months, like our son was in the NICU for a couple of days after he was born. And so that was, everything felt like it started on the wrong foot,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't, the experience wasn't what we had hoped it was going to be to start. But then, it was I remember coming home, because we have a bunch of cats. So coming home to feed the cats, while he was still in the hospital and come home, take a nap, feed the cats, and then I just beasted out a set, and of 6 counts before I went back to the hospital. And it was, sort of that set a good tone of like, okay, like this, I can reset and be zen about stuff. So, and just 20 minutes of it is very doable. I think it's with the K. I mean, this is my experience. It's different for everybody, but to be able to find 20 minutes where I could take a 20-minute nap, or I could stare at the wall for 20 minutes, or I can go in the garage, put on music, and do a set. And that, to me, I have been finding that the workout is actually a pretty good nap replacement. At this point, my body is very, I have a hard, I wake up and I'm tired, and I usually work out kind of in the afternoon around lunch. And, I'll be tired in the morning, tired. And yeah, I get down there and I work out. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty jazzed. Like I had been planning a nap. I have a nap blocked for later today, but then I get up there and I'm like, I can't actually sleep. So, so it's one of these, it's a good reset for that. And from like a nutrition perspective, I found that, when I'm before our baby was born, I love to, snack and eat, I go, I'm a little bit hungry, like let me just have a giant bowl of cereal, like for some reason, like, what's the Japanese or Chinese saying, like you're not hungry, your mouth is just bored. Like, so a lot of that kind of stuff. And then with the kid, with your baby here, it's like I'm with him, my hands are occupied, so I'm not, sitting there snacking on something, or I can't just sit there for, put on a show for 20 minutes and eat something.
Mhm.
I'm with him. So that that kind of, as I was just that, plus being mindful of like when I was eating, what I was eating, and not even like, I mean, I'm very proud to say I hate vegetables and I really don't eat them. And, this is the whole, and yet this journey happens. I know it probably sounds very sacrilegious, but I just don't. So, just watching the calories in, calories out kind of thing.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because we take a pretty streamlined approach to losing weight. We're
yes.
not tracking macros so much.
Yeah.
I try to encourage lots of vegetables, good for the microbiome and all of that stuff. But yeah, we got certain protein goals that are very rough and ready and not particularly demanding, and we've got a calorie budget which we can go
Mhm.
spend.
Yep.
And it seems to have worked really well. I mean, it just every week you come back to me and you've stripped off some more fat and you're getting towards that ideal physique and that ideal weight.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, just I think the tracking macros is a great approach. But I think, I mean, it's a great approach if you're not familiar with it at all. But like after you've done it, like, for one of these, you just Google it. It's like, oh, you need to have 1 gram of protein per body weight thing. And it's like, well, then you get 150 grams of protein every day. That's like, it's like half your calorie goals. It's like, well, you're just eating protein. There's nothing, you can't do anything else. It's like, well, I have to get my fats in, I get my carbs. It's like, it's such a, to fit the puzzle pieces and just to simplify it, of just like, here's your calorie number, get 100 grams of protein at least, like easy. That's very doable.
yeah, 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 yeah. I recently, just to pivot slightly, I've been working on my training environment and I started training in my garage. And
Mhm.
am I right to think that that's where you train? You've got like quite a specific setup, right?
Yeah. My garage, yeah, there's this place we live now is, it has a garage, and what I do now is I go down in the afternoon and I have the garage door open,
Hmm.
and we have like a little like Bose Bluetooth down there, and I'll just put on, some pretty heavy music and do my workout. And so it's part of me is like, I mean, obviously there's like the airflow, right? You have the door open, but
Yeah.
then it's also like, my neighbors are out there. People are, we live in a townhouse complex. So people are coming by, cars are driving by, and people are like waving. And it's like, yeah, I'm just rocking it. Just that's part of like the visible accountability of like, I'm out there doing this.
Yeah, I had missed. I mean, I guess every time I train, it's public because it's on the channel.
Yeah.
Uh, but for the general public as well, I was training in my driveway the other day, and someone drove past and just saw this lunatic just up and down, up and down, up and
Yeah.
down 6 times. And there is something really nice about that feeling that you're an ambassador for this movement, and
Mm.
you're showing the world this different way that you can train.
Yeah.
Um, what so as you know, I'm an advocate of silence in the workout and of just nothing but the sound of your count. um but um that's not for everyone, and you've built
Yeah.
your relationship with this movement through music.
Mhm.
What is the mic playlist?
I mean, I've kind of like right now, I mean, it cycles through. Right now, I've got kind of just like a playlist. I've just thrown different heavy tracks from like older stuff I like and new stuff that has been coming out. But pretty consistently, like I'll come back to what is it? The Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake. That's pretty that like that for the first 20 minutes of that album like really smashes. So it's like perfect. You know, that one I like. I mean, I mean, I could, keep going. Just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. And so but it's also just like, because I'm like a metal kid, punk kid, so, back in the day, not a kid anymore, I'm 35, but like I'm also training for the pit, I'm in the mosh pit, like not that I'm like going to concerts very often these days, but yeah, the last one I went to, I was already doing the program. And so it was rewarding to be in the pit, and like I'm in pretty good shape, and
Yeah.
like we're in there having fun and bouncing, smashing people. It's great. So yeah,
That's great, man. No, I'm sure Burpee strength comes in handy in a mosh pit.
it does. You can get yourself off the floor pretty quick.
When I one time last year, I went off the clock and I did a 40-minute session on top of my 80 minutes.
Wow.
You'll know that that's strictly forbidden. It was a reward to myself for finishing my PhD. So it's like I gave myself a special dispensation. Um, Practitioners of the program will know that birthdays are a special dispensation. Whenever
Mhm.
it's your birthday, carte blanche, you can go train for 2, 3 hours if you want to. And I
Mhm.
strongly encourage people to do that. It's a wonderful thing to do 500 Navy SEALs on your birthday. In any case,
Yeah.
this was just a fairly light 40-minute 6 count session. Um, but I had some music on it. It's the first time I hadn't filmed a session for the channel in years.
Mhm.
Uh, and I had some Gregorian chant, just the
Ooh.
sound of some monks in an abbey just chanting. Um, I would strongly advocate Gregorian chant with your burpees.
Hmm.
It's a
I might write that
powerful
down.
thing. It's a strange thing. It puts you into a prayer-like state of mind. And I found I had this feeling that I could just keep doing burpees for the rest of time when I was in there.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that.
So, Mike, I would implore you to, yeah, to consider trying out a Gregorian chant session. Especially, you said you've been pretty smashed this week with work, with life, with sleep, with all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
we've got you moving through 206 counts today,
Mhm.
which for you is kind of a backup workout.
Yeah.
So go look on Spotify for some Gregorian chants and listen
I'll
to
do that.
prayer.
Yeah, it's also like nice and gray out right here today, so that'll be like even better, like mood wise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, my man. Well, listen, I'm so glad to have had you on the show to share a little glimpse of your training practice. A lot of people think fatherhood is the beginning of the end, and I think it's the beginning of the beginning, fitness-wise. And just it's been so inspiring to see um, where you've taken things since becoming a dad. It's a wonderful thing, and
Thank-
We've made a home now at 165. You're kind of living there. That's your walking around weight. We're moving through the upper rungs of the program now. Do you have a sense of where you want to be by the end of this year?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of just doing whatever you tell me to do. So and that's helpful too. You know, that's part of the fitness thing of like, if I have to self motivate and like figure it out and do the math, it's like, I don't, I'm just not going to do, or I'll do the same thing. I'll do it
Yeah,
for, until I'm bored of it. So that's, if I can plug your training, if you have spots open, like, to just take your mind off the math is also fantastic.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Well, we will keep pushing you, and I see level 3 and then level 4 for you, no doubt about it. Especially walking around with such a streamlined physique, and with all of that cardio background from your youth, you've got everything that it takes to go all the way with this program. So let's say when you are at level 4, we will get you back on this channel. Maybe you'll have an updated playlist with more of a spiritual dimension.
Oh yeah.
But Mike, thanks so much for joining us, my man.
Yeah, happy to have us, or happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
My friend. All right. Take care, my friend. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning back in to the Busy Dad podcast. Expect another episode with my good friend Joe from Glasgow next week. Take care.